first. So before we start, let me ask you what is your perspective, and then I'll give you my perspective, and then we can go.
Okay, so my opinion on the situation with Mr. Floyd
Let me know
is
if you
this.
can hear.
Can we hear? Can you hear me?
I'm talking about the Instagram, the people on Instagram.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Okay, so my perspective and my opinion on the situation with Mr. Floyd is this: A, the cop was completely wrong in doing what he did for as long as he did. I think it is justified that they are now charging him with second-degree murder. They've now gotten the other 3 or 4 cops that were with him, and I think that they're an accessory to murder, and that they were wrong for just standing there doing nothing. But I don't think burning things down and stealing things or looting and rioting is the answer. Yes, there may be peaceful protesting going on, like where I'm from. Like as you know, James, I recently moved to Steger, Illinois, to the Chicago area about 2 years ago now. From South Bend, Indiana, and I think there are some places like where I'm from in South Bend who have been peacefully protesting for this, to kind of get. And I think there should be police reform. I think they should have better training, because a lot of times I think people are too quick to use that tool to defend yourself when you don't need to be, because not every situation calls for that. But like I said, here's I think where we kind of disagree is I don't think riots and looting is the right way. I definitely think that these protests have been hijacked from now from what I've seen and heard by Antifa and things like that. But I think peacefully protesting is definitely the way to go. I think voting is definitely the way to go, because let's be honest, like if these people who have been rioting and looting put this much energy into voting, do you really think these things would be this bad? Like, I mean, think about it. These are probably, and I'm not saying everybody, every person that's been doing all this stuff, like rioting or protesting or whatever, doesn't vote. But I'm saying, like, probably about, like, we could say about 50% or a good percentage of them don't. And I think if more of them did, you would see a lot more change. Like that's really my opinion and my perspective on this. And we could dive into it further. Like coming from a conservative background, and I know I live in a very liberal area, but coming from a conservative background, my way of thinking is like I really don't like putting labels on things. Like I'm a libertarian, okay? So I don't really like putting labels on things. I think we all are American. Like I understand you want to have your own kind of identity and things like that, but I feel like you could have an identity apart from what society says you should be, or the norms that they try to push upon you. Because recently I've been kind of studying the way of the Tao, or like Taoism, and that's kind of how that plays into things, is that with a little bit of anarchism, the philosophy of anarchism, where you don't really have control, or like I believe that the government should be super small, but when it comes to this situation, I do think the cops should be charged. I do think there should be better training for cops, but I don't think burning things down and looting and rioting is the way to go. What's your kind of perspective on it? Like, so that way, we can kind of get a good feeling for everything. Since so go ahead.
Well, of course, I agree that they should be charged. I personally believe that was first degree. I believe that he knew very well that he was killing him. I believe he killed him on purpose. And I believe that the cops should get second degree. I feel like the second degree for the first cop is too light of a punishment. And if we go back to how this all started because the DA did not want to prosecute the cop who did that. He just fired them. And then I think it was a couple days. It wasn't the same day. It was a couple days later where he refused to prosecute them. He even let them go in their home. He had like the police guard his house to protect him. Now notice, mind you, he's a citizen because he's been fired. He's not even a police officer. He's just a citizen with like a whole police squad protecting his house instead of him being charged. And the rioting and everything like that, I'll be honest with you, I'm 100% for it. I'm all for it. The stealing, like this is like a war. This is that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Now I'm not stealing, but if somebody stole, that's theirs now. I mean, that's kind of how, that's really American culture if we really want to go back in history. But as far as the peaceful protest, of course, the peaceful protest is the ideal solution for it, but that's never really worked. During the time of King, during all these other peaceful protests that we've had, the reason it's come down to this point is because they've acknowledged, we see a video, and these are just the videos that we have seen. We see a video of a police officer doing something to a black person, and then the police officer either gets let go completely or it's a slap on the wrist. And not just with police. We see with like Trayvon Martin. We saw that with what's his name, Ahmaud Arbery. It took them 2 months, and then they didn't get charged immediately when the video first came out. It's like when it's a white person who does something to a black person, it's always this long, drawn out thing before there's any charges brought up. But we know if it was a black person who did something to a white person, and we have cases where black police officers got sentenced to 12 years for killing white people. We know if it was the other way around, the punishments would be swift and immediate. So this is what it takes, because the peaceful protests are nice, but it's not really pushing the point. It's not getting the point across. Because we not only do we have to see this, but the fact that we know that they're trying to let them get off again and again and again and again. They hide evidence. The DA covers for them, the judge covers for them, or they handpick juries. It's always something where they're trying to let these police officers get away. And these are just the cases that we know about. So it comes to a point where you got to put the signs down and pick a brick up. Because nobody would be talking about it right now. Nobody would be talking about it right now had all this stuff not happened. And to black people who have to live with the threat of, hey, you might be in your house. You might be in your house like Breonna Taylor was and shot 8 times. Or what's that other person? Botham John. You might be jogging, it's normal citizen things that you do, and you can be killed for it, and the person who killed you is not going to face any type of repercussions. So unfortunately, it's to a point where if we cannot all be comfortable, we have to all be equally uncomfortable. If we can't all be safe, we're all equally unsafe. Now, as far as the voting goes, that can work depending on the politician, because you can't just say voting is the solution. Okay, well, what are you voting for? What? Voting for who? What is that person that you're voting for going to do? And then, yeah, you have elections and stuff like that in November, but we're in June now. So you mean to tell me we're just going to accept being killed with impunity until November, and then expect somebody else to come and do something? Like, I don't see what voting is really gonna do. because it is not just the president. It's the governor. It's the mayor. It's the police chief. It's everybody. And this is not just a Trump thing. This has happened years and years, decades and decades and decades with several different presidents, both Republican and Democrat. So it's not like a magic president is going to come and change anything. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
Now you mentioned Ahmaud Arbery, and I don't know, like we all know the snapshot of what we've seen on video of that, and but I still personally, and kind of like what we know with like what is it now, like 6 DAs, like, so I don't know the whole story to that, just like I don't know the whole story with George Floyd's situation, which I want to know everything, like uh, whether we both think anything was wrong or right. I just want to know the whole story so I can know exactly what happened. I know you want a first degree murder charge for whatever the guy's name is, Chauvin or something.
Chauvin, Derek Chauvin.
Yeah, Chauvin.
Chauvin, something, I don't know.
But
Hitler. His name is Hitler. Adolf Hitler.
Who?
Adolf Hitler. That's his new name. That's probably his middle name.
That's pretty harsh.
Okay. Harsh. What he did was harsh.
But it's kind of hard to prove that with first degree murder, you have to prove that it's premeditated. And the thing is, like, yeah, they might have, like, from what we've heard, at least, we don't even know if it's true that yeah, they might have worked together as nightclub security guards, but who knows if they even worked the same shifts, or if they were just boats passing in the night type of thing. Maybe they could have. I don't know. That's the type of information we need to know to if you want that first degree murder charge. I personally, like I said, like voting when we talk about voting, you especially like with the Black community, you have to go back to Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay, back in the 60s, the late 60s, after JFK had died, because JFK is a president who actually did do stuff for the Black community and wanted to help change things. He wasn't really even a Democrat, honestly. He was more of a Republican than a Democrat. But LBJ was the one who signed the Civil Rights Act, and he was the one who said that he would have you guys voting for Democrats for the next 60 years. And let's be honest, he was right. If you look at voting, and I'm not saying Republicans are perfect, because they're far from perfect. Like I said, I'm a libertarian. When I vote split ticket. I vote for everybody, Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian, because I believe that there should be a round table of ideas, because that's what this country was built on, or at least was supposed to be built on, was a round table of ideas. Unfortunately, this country has been, and I know this is going to kind of get in conspiracy territory, if you want to call it that, but unfortunately, this country has been hijacked with education and media and politicians, especially the far left and the Democratic Party, to make people think that they are oppressed, and that there is nothing that they can do to change things, when in reality you realize there's a lot of people who are Black that are NBA stars, that are NFL players, that are artists, that are politicians. That's my perspective, not just as a libertarian, but as a conservative. I don't know. I think that my thing is, like, in 2020, at least, I feel like we all kind of share it as Americans. Like, that's where identity politics comes into play. Is that we need to stop with that. We need to stop with this identity politics and just view us all as Americans, because then I think that we would view each other more as equals than than fighting each other. I mean, this is like you said, like we need to come together, and I feel like we both have the same end goal here. We just have a different way of looking at it. And when you want to look at stats, though, when it comes like I don't believe the narrative that police officers are just popping their head off the pillow in the morning and going and saying that thinking as when they're drinking their coffee, oh, I'm going to go kill a black guy today. No, that's just not logical. Do I think that black people and black
Maybe.
men? Do I think that black people and black men are disproportionately shot more? Yeah, but we also have to understand that there is another side to this where white people are getting killed by cops too. It's just that's not the narrative the media wants out there, and that's the thing is the media wants one narrative. They want everybody to hate each other because here's the thing: the leftist media wants you to vote Democrat. The Democrats only want your vote. They only want you to check by them because oh, they're going to give you free stuff when in reality they don't do anything. I mean, that's why they've been called to do nothing Democrats. And I'm not trying to defend the Republicans or Trump or anything because Trump does some stupid shit and says some stupid, sorry for my language. Trump does some stupid
No, you feel free to express yourself. He says some stupid shit. You can say that again. Yeah, say it again. Okay. I'm pretty sure people like to hear that.
You know, it's just, I mean, like, I feel like, and I think I've told you this, I voted for Trump. But the thing is, I hold him to the fire. If he says something stupid, I'm like, dude, man, why are you doing this? Why are you saying something? But there are times where I feel that the media takes things out of proportion. Like go back with COVID when he talked about that rare treatment with the UV light thing, and you can look at the video of the press conference. He was looking straight at the doctor and talking about this. I have a coworker whose mom is a nurse and she knows about this stuff. So it's not like it's an uncommon thing. It's a rare treatment, yes. But after he talked about that, the media went and did what? They said, oh, Trump said to go drink bleach or Clorox, that it would cure COVID. No, see, like that's one thing I posted. If Trump said that Adidas was the next big thing or coming back, the media would have you saying, have you buying more Nike products than you could, have money for. But I really think it's more of, and this is a thing. It's a mindset, and I really think we need to, in this country, we need to change our mindset, and it's going to be hard to do that, but that's what needs to happen. Honestly, like we need to wake up and realize that the media, the politicians, they're at least the ones we have in office right now, the career ones like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, people like that. They don't have your JB, Pritzker, Lori Lightfoot. They don't have your best interests at heart. They say they do, but they don't because look, they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything. The stats, like I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but the stats with Trump, he's done more for prison reform or jail, like is it prison reform or jail reform?
It's prison reform.
Huh? Prison reform.
Prison reform.
Yeah, he signed that bill for prison reform among minorities that the lowest unemployment rate since ever. So he's actually done more for minorities than the Democrats have. And like I said, I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just saying the facts and the stats that are out there. You mentioned Trayvon Martin. Now, here's the thing with that one. George Zimmerman, asshole. I don't think he was right. I think he should have stood down. But when put yourself in his situation, when somebody's bashing your skull into the pavement, that person, you have the right to defend yourself. So that person then forfeits their right to live. Like you mentioned that, you wanted things to, you agree with picking up a brick and throwing it in the window and burning stuff down and like basically war. Well, you gotta be able to accept the consequences. If you want a war, then what Trump's saying about bringing in the military, you got to be able to accept that because you're the one who wanted that consequence. They have bigger
Okay.
guns. It's
Okay.
violence.
Okay.
Violence.
No. I don't want to like
breeds more violence, and that's my perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Now, as much as I agree with that, I want to go back to the first thing where you said, we don't know if the cops wake up in the morning. I might not wake up in the morning planning to kill somebody, but I've recently researched that in Illinois, first-degree murder is malice of intent. If you intend on doing something that will kill somebody, or doing something that will cause extreme harm that could kill somebody. In the video, because there was multiple videos taken, in the video, George Floyd was already on the ground cuffed before Derek Chauvin came and put his knee on him. And then now a lot of people haven't seen the video, and if you haven't, then I wouldn't recommend you do. It's a very graphic video. But he sat his knee on him for almost 10 minutes. Are you still there? Okay. He sat his knee on him for almost 10 minutes. So to me, it doesn't matter if an hour ago you didn't plan on killing anybody. At that moment, when you're committing an act that you know is killing somebody, then you are intending to kill that person. And I fully believe that if it was, let's look at it like this. If it was George Floyd who killed the cop, let's say the cop was down and George was on his neck. Would people say, oh, well, he didn't plan to kill the cop. He didn't wake up planning to kill the cop. There's always like a million excuses. You always have to look at all this stuff like, oh, well, what did he wake up? Did he have breakfast in the morning? Like, blah, blah, blah. There's always these details, these unnecessary details that you have when a cop does something. But if a civilian does that same thing to a cop, it doesn't matter. All those details don't matter. Now, I know some people post quote, all lives matter, right? Then why are you? Okay.
What happened here?
No, I think you hung up. I don't know. Can you see? Because you're kind of little. Is your camera like?
I have my phone sideways though. I can see you. You're fine.
Okay. Well, as long as you can see, right? As long as you can see. That's intent. That's first degree to me. And now, as far as the voting thing, I'm not a Democrat. Okay, I'm not like blue, but I'm not red either. I'm not going to pretend that Democrats have been doing all these things and Republicans are really the heroes of non-white people. I mean, if you look at it now, the Republicans and the Democrats have changed from what they were like 70 years ago. Look at today, all of the hardcore white supremacist organizations, all of the KKK and the Proud Boys and the Richard Spencers, they're all Republicans. Or at least they all side with the Republicans. So it's not like the Republicans are just good for world peace and it's really the sneaky Democrats. I do think that Democrats are very sneaky, and I do think that Democrats aren't doing anything. But I'm not going to be fooled to think the side that the KKK is on is going to be better for me as a black person. That makes no sense at all. Now, as far as you saying the media spins things, yes, the media does spin things. The media does spin things. However, with Donald Trump, it's really not that hard. Donald Trump makes it very easy and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and say he doesn't mean the stuff he says all the time. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But he makes it very easy for people to misinterpret what he says all the time. You can see the way he refers to white people in certain situations, and then how he refers to non-white people in certain situations. And it's almost impossible to say he's not racist. And then look at his history, his racial discrimination with his hotels and everything. This is back before he was back before he started running for president. The Central Park Five. His dad was in the Klan, Fred Trump. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? I find it hard to believe that a son of a Klans member is gonna just love it like, oh, I hate my. He clearly likes his dad. He clearly, it's not like he is denounced from his family. He clearly still very close to his family. So I find it hard to believe he's just a black sheep of that. It makes no sense. And then and I'm not gonna pull up all of the tweets he said and all of the things he's done. Okay, is there things that maybe he's done to help indirectly? Sure. Okay, I'm gonna give everybody credit for what it's doing, but I think it doesn't make any sense to say that one party is for, well, I'm a black person, one party is for black people, and the other party is trying to deceive black people. I do believe that the Democrats are sneaky. However, Trump is just Trump. I gotta give him his credit because I thought he would have been said the N-word by now. I swear I thought he would have been said the N-word in the interview. I mean, after the whole what was it? Not the Charlottesville, where they had the thing about the statue.
It was Charlotte. You're right.
Charlottesville, and everything. And at first he didn't say anything, and then he came out and he was all like, "Hey, first off, what's so bad about owning slaves? I mean, you're gonna take down everybody who owns slaves? Like, he's defending. It's not like he's defending George Washington or defending a president. He's defending somebody who went to war with America to defend white supremacy. He's openly defending the statue of a white supremacist. So, I mean, you have that there. He's talking about they're very fine people. You have several interviewers who have asked him, like, oh, well, you got a lot of support from the Klan, the KKK. Like, what do you have to say about that? He doesn't say anything. I mean, I can't blame him. If that's the side his family comes from, I'm sure he sides with those people, at least to an extent. I'm sure he doesn't want to say anything. It'd be an awkward Thanksgiving dinner. So I do what? Hold on, my Instagram is really kind of tweaking right now. Oh my god. Oh. Okay. Keep going. Yeah, we're back on. So I don't think. I feel like. Hold on. Let me just. Oh shit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like.
Go ahead.
You said what? I feel like, as far as the parties, I am a very I'm an issue voter. If the politician matches my agenda, if the politicians, if that's whether that be the governor, the mayor, the president, all these people, congressmen, if they match my agenda, if they match what I believe needs to be there, then I will vote for them, whether they are Republican or Democrat. But I am not going to side with Republicans, even though I know Democrats are shady. I'm not going to side with Republicans and be siding with the NRA, the KKK, the Proud Boys. All of them are on that one side. I can see most of them. All of them are on one side. It is impossible for me to believe that as a black person, that's the side I should be on. That makes no sense.
Well, let me kind of retort one of those things. The KKK has always been on the side of the Democrats and the left because who was it, Eisenhower? Or who was before Eisenhower? Woodrow Wilson? That watched, what was the KKK movie that he watched in the White House, by the way? Something of a Nation. Or something. I'm gonna look it up. It's something for a nation. I don't remember, but it was a KKK movie, and he started the KKK. Oh no, the KKK didn't they start under Jackson? I don't remember, but I know that they started it back up at least.
As soon as you're done with that, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Now, the FBI have confirmed that there are KKK who have infiltrated the police department. That's a confirmed thing,
And I can agree
and
with that.
everybody who's listening can look that up right now. If you're on your laptop or on your phone, you can look that up. They've confirmed that. So what do you think about
I can
that?
agree with that. And I can agree with that. I'm not saying all cops are racist. I'm sure there are, and
I'm not saying every single last one of them, or it's just maybe most, like 90%.
Well, not even 90%. Maybe about 30 to 40.
Ooh, no. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if it was that small of a number, you would rarely have cases like this. We're in this situation with the riots. We're in a situation with the riots now because cases have built up, case after case after case after case. That has built up. If you have all these good cops stopping the bad cops, if you have one video, and this my Instagram keeps falling. If you have one video of a racist cop, the bad cop, beating up somebody, and a good cop stopping them, is there any video of that? Because you have several videos of cops standing there and not doing anything or stopping other people from stopping him, just like we have with this case. And we have most of them are good. By your word, 70% are good, right? But you don't have you don't see any video, any picture of a cop even saying anything, a cop even being like, hey man, like chill. Like apparently if it's 70% are good cops, they're all in the office doing paperwork, and the 30% are just roaming the streets. That's the only way that would make sense.
Hello? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm not delay or something like that. Sometimes it does that.
Okay, because you keep cutting out is all.
Yeah. So and my thing is, it's not that all cops are bad, because I know that all cops are not evil people. All of them are not evil people. But the issue is when it comes to black people specifically. Are you there?
Going
Okay.
in and out.
Black people specifically. I don't know what's going on. Cops do things to black people.
Okay, like yeah, I can agree with that. There are cops who are racist, like because like there are people who are racist, black, white, green, yellow, purple, whatever. You know, there's somebody who wants to be superior to somebody else, and
Can I ask you a question to clarify this for the audience, because the audience is gonna ask.
Okay.
Has there been, to your knowledge, because you are very knowledgeable, has there been, to your knowledge, any case of a black cop being racist to a white citizen?
Of a black cop being racist to a white citizen?
Yes, of a black cop.
To my knowledge, I mean,
yes.
I can't think of it.
Because you just said that racism is everywhere, and anybody can be racist. So what we're seeing is white people being racist, and you're saying everybody is. So I'm like, okay, where's everybody else?
Just because I don't have knowledge of it doesn't mean that it may not have been reported or it didn't happen. Some of it because like I said, like with racism, it takes all forms. You know, it takes it doesn't. It's like COVID. Like it doesn't just. It's not just a white black thing. You know, we have people who like you could go to Hitler. He was racist against Jews. They both had the same skin color almost. You know, it's that you know. But what I'm saying is like, just because I haven't heard it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Okay, and I'm not trying to say that it does not. I'm not even trying to debunk or acknowledge whether it exists or not. I'm trying to acknowledge the fact that we have situations that the public has witnessed, the public sees and knows, where a white cop has been able to do something to a black person specifically, and then that white cop pretty much, or a white citizen, honestly, pretty much gets away, or gets a slap on the wrist. But we do not have those same, because if it was just racism, you would see it with pretty much every time, because they're all racist cops. But you see this with white cops and black people. You don't see it the other way around. I mean, we have like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times of white cops and black people, whether it's black men and black women, but you can't name one with a black cop and a white person?
Like I said, it's because it hasn't been reported. The media picks and chooses what they want us to see because they know that they can control us with fear and anger. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like that's why you don't see a white cop shoot no white guy, because statistically speaking, white men are more likely to get shot by a cop.
Okay. Now, because what you said is correct. I just want to let the audience know that I'm not disagreeing with everything you said. What you said is correct. Let's factor in the fact that there are more white men in America than black men. And let's factor in that more white men kill police officers than police kill black people. So what you said is correct, but let's factor those things in too, because there's several times when we've seen a school shooter or something like that. He comes out alive. He comes out unscathed. And this isn't what the media is saying. This is people with their cell phones. Because now you used to have it where only the media was able to record something or send a picture. But now everybody has a camera, and we're seeing everything from everybody's perspective. We're seeing white serial killers, white killers went in a place to kill a bunch of innocent random people, and they come out, they don't have so much as a bruise, not even a bruise on them. Okay, this isn't the left or the media or anything. This is literally what the cops are not doing to white people. And you see a black person, he pulls his arm back and he's getting tased, he's getting beaten with the baton, he's getting shot, and the dog is biting him. That's what you see. And this is what people record. This is not what the media is saying. The media is only following up on what gets viral off of Twitter or Facebook.
And see, this is my problem with people putting videos and stuff on social media, is because, again, they are snapshots in time. They're a moment in time. You're not seeing the moment beforehand where people are throwing bottles or things like that. You're not seeing what caused that reaction. Because scientific law says to every action there is a greater or equal reaction. So there's always a cause and there's always an effect. There's always something you do, an action, and a consequence, good or bad. So
okay,
we're not seeing everything. We're only seeing from that person's perspective. This is why, like I said, and like I've commented with like we've had conversations on Facebook, and this is why I say, like, we shouldn't rush to judgment. We shouldn't just make an emotional decision. Yes, I understand we're all upset. I understand angry. We're all emotional. We want something, and we can all agree on that basic principle.
Hold on, one sec. Can you change your, because some of the people are texting me, can you kind of change it? The sideways thing is a little storm some people off.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So we only see this one perspective, okay? And that's where we make all of our judgments. See, and this is I think recently I've just, especially with the COVID thing, I've kind of just had it with the court of public opinion, because it's just everybody just leeches on to just one thing, because they think that is the utmost right thing that should happen, without knowing everything that is involved, or at least educating yourself. When COVID first started and we first started had a lockdown, I was watching video after video, reading article after article about this virus, looking up the genome of this virus to see exactly what it does, to see how it works, you know.
Okay.
Now, and I was called an a-hole and selfish for putting the truth out there with that. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I can't speak on COVID. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. You researched it. You researched it. So let's talk about COVID a little later, though. Because
no,
somebody brought up.
But what I'm saying is, my main point is this with that is I don't like jumping onto one point of view because like I said, I want to know everything that happened in the situation before, during, after. So that way I know the whole picture and I can say either way of, yeah, that person's innocent or yeah, that person's a jackass, and they shouldn't have did what they did. You know what I mean?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and I don't want to get too personal. You're let's say you were studying to be a pharmacist, right?
Okay.
And you've been a pharmacist for 10 years, or a doctor, or somebody, and you accidentally prescribe something that you're a good person. You're 100% a good person, but you accidentally prescribe somebody the wrong medication, or you accidentally hand somebody the wrong medication. Let's say two people have the same name, and you switch it up. It was an honest mistake. You switched it up. Now their body comes back. The research is done, and they found out they died based off of a mistake that you made. It wasn't your intention. You had no intention to hurt this person, but that person is dead. That person is being buried now because you had made a mistake. What do you think should happen?
Well, one, I should lose my license and I should lose my job.
Okay. You should. There should be something, right? Now you didn't even do that. So don't you feel that if an officer makes a mistake, and the officer kills somebody, even if the officer wasn't a bad person, the officer should be fired immediately and without possibility to come back.
Well, don't
you think that we should have the same standard for doctors that we do for officers?
Well, that's really a broad statement or question because because you're kind of comparing apples to oranges here. Because officers, no matter what the situation or who they're dealing with, no matter what the color of their skin are, if they're putting their lives in danger, which they are, and defending themselves, and you can prove without a reasonable doubt that that's what happened, then if you can't prove that, like in the situation with George Floyd, yes, I believe that man should be charged, that he should be in prison for however many years, serve his time, and probably the rest of his life. Honestly, the rest of his life, because like I said, that was egregious. You know what I mean? The other what, 3 or 4 should as well. But like I said, I don't think we should have such a public lynching of these people because we should let the courts do their thing, because that's where truth comes to light. Whether we agree with it or not, that's where it comes to life.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. And I'm sorry, I've been cutting you off, and I will let you speak because I want this to stay respectful.
But I want to make sure, like we need to understand that whether we agree with what we find out during the trial or not, or anything like that, that's where the facts come to light. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to get out there. So go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, it's like a 2-part question. So you're saying we'll go with this. There are cases you almost have automatic death sentence if you kill a police officer, if you kill a police dog, but especially if you kill a police officer, that's either life or that's capital punishment for a citizen to kill a police officer. Okay, if we're saying that everybody should be treated equally, we're saying everybody should be treated equally. If the person kills a police officer, even if it was an accident, then a police officer, then that person gets punished. So if a police officer who's supposed to be held at this super high esteem and has this power over people, with power comes consequence, wouldn't you agree? Yeah. So my thing is, and you're saying we should trust the courts. If you're saying we can't trust the media, why should we trust the courts? If the courts we've been seeing, been giving people slaps on the wrist, like let's go back to Amber Geiger, right? When she only got 10 years. She literally walked in somebody else's apartment and shot them to death. Now let's switch it up. Let's say it was the black man, let's say it was Bolton John, who walked in that white woman's apartment and shot her to death. Do you think that he would be getting 10 years? With pretty much, which really means 5 years, because in Texas she can get out in 5. Do you think that if that black man killed a white female police officer, he would be getting 10 years? Just walked in her apartment and shot her.
And
I'm saying this because you're saying that we should trust the courts, but we can clearly tell there's a bias when it comes to consequence in the courts. And that's really what race theory, but I'm really narrowing down to police.
I definitely agree with you there that there is. But again, we put those people into power, the judges into power, because when we vote, they also have a section on the back of the paper where you vote for judges. But let me say this. When it comes to citizens shooting police officers, whether it's white, black, or the other, again, I would say it depends on the situation. Like, I think if we shot a cop because they were being negligent, then no, we were defending ourselves, and they just came in with no reason, which does happen. That there's an instance. Who is the lady that they planted weed or whatever in her house or whatever, and they got they got sentenced to prison or something, or I don't remember, but she was.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, she was an elderly woman. That in that instance, I think she had every right to shoot the cop because they came in without a warrant and planted evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I do think that some judges, just like some cops, are corrupt because power corrupts people, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay. And that's what I'm saying. See, this is why I said we need to vote. If you really want to change, go ahead.
Okay. Before we get into that, because we can get into that, and then it could be like a respectful conversation as well. Before we get into that, because I want to know, people are messaging me. Do you believe, based off of everything that I've just said and every situation that we've seen, do you believe that there is disproportionate punishment when it comes to police officers doing something to black citizens?
Again, it depends on the situation, but yes.
Okay, let me bring up a situation because I forgot to bring a situation up to you.
Yeah.
Breonna Taylor, right? Breonna Taylor was in her home, in her apartment, and 3 police officers came with a no-knock warrant. They came in.
Definitely, yes. That is a situation where they should have been punished. Because if they didn't...
Punished how? How should they be? Because she was shot 8 times. And they actually arrested her boyfriend, who shot the cops. They haven't even charged the officers yet. They arrested the boyfriend. The boyfriend's out on bail. He's still facing charges, but he's out on bail right now. Kenneth Walker, his name is. He's out on bail. So So what should the punishment be for hold on, because we were just talking about the medicine thing, right? What should the punishment be for cops who made a mistake and killed somebody?
Well, that should be the same.
Why do you see the system? Why do you see the system not punishing those cops, but you see them punish the black man who had a legal gun and saw people breaking in and shooting, and he started shooting back, which is what we are told is our right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
don't you agree? Don't you agree that there is disproportionate justice here?
Yeah, I agree that in that situation, they should definitely be punished to the full extent of the law because A, they didn't have a warrant. And I have a problem with those cops because they went in and started shooting without a warrant. First of all, yeah, they didn't even have a warrant to go into the house. That's the number one thing right there is not having a warrant. If you don't have a warrant or even permission to go in the house, you shouldn't be there. And yes, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law for that because now they've taken somebody's life and they shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Okay. So we don't get vague because people are asking on Instagram, what is the full extent of the law? What is the full extent of the law for the cops?
Life in prison.
So you think that all three of them should get life in prison?
Yeah, because they shouldn't have been there. And they didn't have a warrant.
Okay.
So they've already broken the law. But I do want to say I don't know a whole lot about the situation besides what you've just told me. So, because the media is not reporting everything that's going on, especially right now. They're only reporting what, the riots and things like that. But if a cop doesn't follow the law like they're supposed to, and there are shitty cops out there, they think that they got a badge and that their shit don't stink. And I can 100% agree with that. I've encountered some myself. Exactly 2 years ago, we were coming from Notre Dame and going to my wife's sister's house in Rochester, Indiana, going on the new 31 and coming out from a country road, and we got pulled over in Marshall County, Indiana. Now, let me preface this by saying Marshall County is kind of backwards in their ways and things like that, but and that my sister had gotten in trouble with her boyfriend, her baby's daddy, and they had drugs and stuff. So I'm pretty sure they profiled me because of that. And yeah, I had a suspended license that I didn't know at the time, but they checked my car. Now, why would you need to check my car for a suspended license? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, why would you need to check my card? Give me a ticket or something and let me go on my way. But
they actually can arrest you for driving under a suspended license. That is, well, I know in Illinois you can. I'm not exactly sure in Indiana, but I believe in Illinois you can be arrested if you're driving under a suspended license.
I know. And there's been a lot of cops who've just given me tickets and stuff because I've gotten out of it. I'm cool like that. Cause they just gave me tickets because I was like, oh, I didn't know. But no, like they checked my car. That's my thing. I was like, why do you need to check my car and go through my stuff if all this was a suspended license? But like I said, there are instances where people get a power trip. And that's not right. That's another thing. That's one thing I think that if you're going to be a police officer, just like if you're going to handle a gun or buy a gun, that you need, like with a police officer especially, you need to have a better background check. You know what I mean? So that way you can go into their history and say, hey, did they have any arrests? Are they known for doing this, or this? So that way we can have people on the force that, A, like I said, have good training, because we need better training for cops, and B, we know isn't just going to go into Lloyd Christmas mode and just shoot all around. You know what I'm saying?
I agree to an extent. I agree with all the Notre Dame stuff. The road trip. Cops do be, cops mess with people. Just if they're bored, they will. As far as the better training thing, I just find that very difficult to believe because I have literally seen instances where white people, they're fighting white people, fighting like fist fighting, fist balled up, fighting white people. I have police officers in my family, and they've told me about situations with white people. You see mass shooters get into it with white people, and they come out okay. They're all okay. So it seems really hard for me to believe that only with black people is this, oh, you just need more training. I just don't know. I just don't know how to do the job that I've been doing for 50 years. I just don't know how to do it. But you know how to do it with people. All I'm saying is there is a disproportionate treatment between police officers when it comes to police officers and how they treat white people and how they treat black people. And not to say that all police officers are bad or that they only treat black people bad, but this is to say we've seen time and time again of certain situations where police officers get, well, white citizens kind of, but police officers get slaps on the wrist for doing certain things to to black people. And you don't see, because if it was training, you would have black cops doing the same thing that white cops are doing. But you don't see that. You don't see the black cops, and I'm not talking about just what the media is portraying. You don't see anybody filming black cops doing that stuff to white people. You don't see any body cam footage. You don't see any store camera footage, any filming. You don't have one instance, because I can just name like several instances of the other way around off the top of my head, but you can't name one instance. So, and you tell me it's the training? Do white cops get trained to handle black people differently? Because that's the only thing that would make sense if it's the training. If it's not the person inside, and if it's the training, then you're telling me that white cops are trained to handle black people differently than they are trained to handle white people.
I don't know about that, but what I mean is like in the military, okay? And my dad has been in the military. I have two cousins that one was an MP in the Air Force and one is currently serving in the Navy. They train you not to shoot unless you have to. You know what I mean? Like, don't fire unless fire upon. Which is the rules of engagement. So that's the kind of training I mean, is like you need to be trained to, like in the military, to not have to fire the gun unless you absolutely have to, unless that is the last resort. You know what I'm saying?
And I agree fully.
That's what I'm saying across the board. You know, I'm not saying, oh, well, they're trained to handle this certain people this way or that, but that's the kind of training they need, is to be, okay, let's think about this. Let's train how to de-escalate the situation. Because, you know, like I said, in the military, they're trained how to de-escalate the situation, you know? So, that's the kind of training I'm talking about. Maybe that's not what's happening when they're trained in the police force. You know what I'm saying? And that's what needs to be happening. So that way they're in a situation and they don't have to use their weapon or taser or anything like that. They can talk it out like we're doing now, you know? So
okay. And okay, I will let the training, because I don't believe it is training. I stay firm on the fact that if it was training, all cops would be that way with all citizens, and you just don't see that. Not nearly as much. So I don't believe it is a training. But let's go with what you're saying and say that the cops are trained to just, you know, do what they feel is appropriate. The reason we're in the situation we are right now is because
they did that right.
My live stream ended. Okay, hold on.
Okay. Okay,
but anyway, this just on Instagram.
I'm gonna. I think we should kind of pause right here for a second while you do that, and I gotta go to the restroom. If that's cool with you.
Go ahead. Yeah, do that. Okay, cool. Do that. I'm gonna read some of the comments. Let's see what's
Yeah, how is that going? Is that looking okay?
I haven't been reading the comments. I've been seeing text messages. People have been texting me.
Well, is it like,
So
how is that going?
He just said he hasn't been reading them.
Well, with the text messages,
the text messages, they want us to stay focused on the police. They don't want us to talk about the politics.
it's not just it's not, but see, the thing is, like, it's the whole, you can't just attack a symptom, you have to attack the whole problem.
Okay.
Why are you on live anyway?
So people can see it.
They're like, no.
Okay.
It's also police fault.
Shh.
I'm about to look and see. There was a lot of comments actually. Let me see.
You'll have to bless them.
Now the thing is that you're saying it's a symptom.
Well, yeah, the police brutality is just a symptom. You have to attack the whole problem. That's why I was talking about voting and the left and, you know, putting in the right politicians. And I'm not saying everybody, because we all are sinners, right? We all do wrong. We all pick the wrong thing to do because that's our nature as humans. But you know, it's part of the problem. It's just a symptom of the problem. It's just a piece of the puzzle. So I mean,
Okay.
I mean, we could just stick to that topic, and I'm sure we agree on a lot of things, and it seems like we do. But
Yelling.
no, I'm talking.
Well, we're back.
Because I want to make sure that he can hear me.
Well, I can hear you all the way in the other room. If he can't hear you, there's something wrong.
Yeah, they're not saying from what I'm hearing, nobody's saying they have an issue hearing you. If anybody has an issue hearing you, text me. You have to text me because I'm not really reading the chats. But you have to text me and let me know that you can't hear him because I don't want just my voice to be heard. So text me and let me know.
Right. Well, and
now I've been talking for a long time. I'm gonna take a little break and I'm gonna let you say your piece.
No, you're fine. But like I was just saying, so the Instagram people on Instagram could hear is the police brutality is just a symptom. The bigger problem, like I said, it has to do with education. It has to do with politicians. I mean, it has to do with voting too. Like the way we vote as people, like you said, you vote your ideas, you vote your beliefs, which is exactly how you should vote. Is what creates this problem. Because you have people who think they're above everybody, like the elitist. And I know we can again get into kind of conspiracy theory territory, but there are people behind the scenes. You know, Trump is a puppet. We're attacking the wrong people here. We need to be attacking the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Rockefellers, you know, those families that are the richest families in the world, because they're the ones who control everything. Literally. That's why they have those secret meetings at like Bilderberg and things like that. I mean, yes, we can sit here and talk policy with like police all day, and like I said, like we agree on a lot of things. I definitely do think that if there's a situation where cops are in the wrong and they don't have a warrant and they've basically broken the law right there, not having a warrant, and they shouldn't be there, and they, you know, bust into a house, guns ablazing, they should be charged. They should be put in prison for the rest of their life. I definitely agree with that. But I also think that no matter who you are, whether you are a police officer or whether you are a normal citizen, you have the right to defend yourself. Do I think Trayvon was probably defending himself from George Zimmerman? Yes, but I also think Zimmerman was doing the same. Even though I don't agree with.
Okay, You can't have two instances. You can't have both people being defending themselves. One person has to be the attacker, and another person has to defend themselves. Both people can't be just defending themselves. I'm just giving you based off of the words that you're using. Two people can't be defending.
Well, let me explain myself, because in any fight situation, you are technically defending yourself, because you are trying to win. Obviously, do I think George Zimmerman should have been following Trayvon? Absolutely not. I don't think that was right. I do think that was profiling. I do not like how Geraldo Herrera made it a meme forever. But self-defense, self-defense is kind of a tricky when you go to a court. But so is first degree murder. Like we were saying, like you have to charge with, you have to prove without a doubt that his intention was to kill that man. Like he had thought about it, he had planned it.
You have to prove malice of intent to do extreme harm, not to kill necessarily.
Right. But
oh wow, okay. The world is super crazy right now.
What's up?
It's like, just keep going.
Well, I mean, like I said, like we agree with a lot of things here. At least I hope people see it that way. And I think we have found a lot of common ground.
Okay.
But when we talk about just police brutality, that's just a symptom. It's I mean, and there's another thing that walks hand in hand with that, is that us as people too have to change too, because we can't just see police officers as subhumane as well. You know, if the narrative or the rhetoric is that cops are seeing Black people as inhumane and subhuman, it kind of walks hand in hand together. It's like you can't have it both ways. You gotta treat each other with respect. You know what I mean? Like we're doing. You have to treat each other with dignity, because they're humans too. They have families, you know.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not trying
to. While you're doing that, let me ask real quick, because there's some people who want to know. There's some people who want to know, as far as, because some people are not very clear on your stance as far as the training, because you have not yet seemed to admit that there are racial biases from the police. You're making it seem like it's a case by case, situation by situation thing. So we will want to understand this. It's a yes or no. Do you believe that the police treat Black people, harm Black people, worse or more often than they do other races, specifically white people?
Well, statistically,
that's yes or no. Physically, yeah.
Yes, they do encounter Black people more than white people, because statistically speaking, even though Blacks are 13% of the population, statistically they commit more crimes than white people. I mean, you can look at New York, for example. That's not true.
But keep going. That's not true. But keep going. I'm sorry.
50% more.
50. Oh, okay. Why don't you clarify your statement? Because you said Black people commit 50% more of the crimes, or is that what you're saying? Or
on average.
On average.
When it comes to violent crime. Sorry about that. But anyway, when it comes to violent crimes, like let's say, you know, especially we could get into crime statistics, but here's my stance. I mean, yes, you honestly, I would say you do have to take it case by case because, as we've stated, not every cop is racist. Not every cop is going out to try and get them one today, type of thing. So I would definitely say you have to take it case by case because you have to look at that individual, that individual police officer, and say, hey, what's his background? Are there racist cops? Yes, 100%. I agree with that. There are racist cops, but I'm not going to sit here and say that all of them are racist because that's not true. Obviously, just like all white people aren't racist. That's not true.
I never said all cops or all white people were racist.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm trying to clarify for the people at home. But what I'm saying is that are there racist cops? Yes, but I would say you have to take it to a case by case basis because again, we don't know these people. We don't know their intentions. We don't know their thoughts. There's just a lot of things in especially in these cases we don't know. Well, the recent cases at least. So yes, you definitely have to take it case by case.
Can I ask? Because I know the audience are going to ask, and this is going to give you a little. Maybe you might want to think about this, but you just said that black people commit 50% of the crimes, 50% at a rate, which is actually for the audience knowing, black people when it comes to the percentage of murder, black people have 50% of it. It's not 50 times higher. It's 50%. It's not half. 50% of the murders that are where people are convicted and arrested. And arrests don't mean that you did it because black people are also acquitted far more than anybody else. So just because you got arrested for something, which is what they prove, they don't prove that you did it. But just because you got arrested for it doesn't mean that you did it. Okay, and white people are only like a good 8% below statistically. So it's not like white on white crime is at 20 and black on black crime is at 50. That is not the case at all. But my question to you is why are we taking the cops killing black people by a case basis, but we can generalize black people killing by what you said, black people committing 50% of the crimes. Why is it when black people commit those crimes, it's like, oh well, just black people are doing it. There's no, let's look at it case by case. Let's look at every single little evidence, every single little detail, there's when a black person gets accused, the details don't matter. It doesn't matter the details, nothing. You accused, you did it. So why do we have to go the extra mile for police as if we can't recognize a pattern with them? Because what I feel you're doing, and I don't want to accuse you, of doing this, but I feel that you're denying the fact that there is a theme or a culture. Because if we go back in history, police started as slave catchers. So of course there's going to be a inbred anti-black hatred within the police. So why do you feel like it's difficult for you to acknowledge that police do things to black people that they do not do to white people?
Well, one, I would say you have to take every case or every situation case by case and having to know all of the situation because that's how trials work. That's how it works in a courtroom. You have to have all of the information.
Okay.
And I would say you have to take, like I said, you have to take every situation by situation, and because, like I said, personally, I like to know the whole story to get a better picture of things. So that way as an individual and as a person, I can have my own thoughts about it, and think freely on it, and say one way or another, yeah, I think this person's innocent, or yeah, I think this person's guilty, you know. Um,
Don't worry, Instagram, I got you.
oh, it died again.
Keep going, keep going. I'm just because the angle is not really good for them, so I am going to set it up this way so they can see you better because they can't really see you that well.
Okay. But like I said, I believe you have to take every situation as a situational thing, because you can't just generalize it, because if you generalize it, then you can vilify cops.
Okay.
Now the slave catcher thing, I don't know. I'd have to look more into that. That's kind of an interesting point. I've never heard that. So I will definitely look into that. I will definitely look into that. Because to my knowledge, I know the fire department and the police department were volunteer for a long time. So they weren't paid by us taxpayers. But no, I'll definitely look into that. That's interesting. I always look into things.
Yeah. And this is not just for you. This is for the people who are watching live, or maybe recorded if we do record this. This is for those people. Just to broaden the information. But my thing is that you say we should look at things on a case by case basis. And I don't disagree because the situations happen. But you just said Black people commit 50% of the violent. You say crime. You didn't say violent crime, but you say crime. And what I assume you mean violent crime.
Yes.
If you said that as if that is an absolute fact. That is an absolute fact that Black people commit 50% of the violent crime. And you're not going a case by case when it comes to Black people, but you're going case by case when it comes to police officers. So why do police officers get a case by case when Black people don't get a case by case? Why you said it as if it was a generalized Black people's crime, but yet when I'm generalizing the police and what they're doing, you're saying, okay, let's not generalize. Let's look at everything by a case by case situation. That's you've done that a couple times. I don't know if you recognize you did that, but you've done that a couple times.
Because you should treat everything as a situational thing, no matter
okay.
if it's a civilian on civilian thing or if it's a cop on civilian thing. You should take it case by case, because again, depending on the situation, we don't know the whole story. We don't know, because there's two sides to every story, and the truth is always in the middle. So we need to know all of the facts. That's why I said that. And until we know all the facts, we need to wait to make a decision on things. And I know that's a controversial thing to say in this day and age because of social media and TV stations like CNN and MSNBC and things like that. But if we wait to find out the facts as they come out, good or bad, and we read up on them, we can have a better understanding of what kind of went down. No matter it, like I said, if it's a civilian on civilian thing or a cop on civilian thing.
Okay.
And that, and I believe that in every situation, because that's how it's handled when you're in a courthouse, or should be handled when you're in a courthouse. So, and that's how the scientific method works too, is you have to handle it by situation as things progress, as things move forward. But that's what I believe, is that everything is situational, especially when it comes to crimes and murder and things like that. Now there are people, black, white, and whoever, who don't do anything and get charged wrongfully, and that's something that we need to look at too when it comes to crime and things like that. Because I honestly, when it comes to like having like an ounce or whatever of weed, like, no, like, you shouldn't be thrown in jail for that. Like, for real, that should be a slap on the wrist, or not even a thing. But that's a whole nother conversation. with when it comes to
Yeah,
marijuana,
we'll talk about that later.
that's a whole nother conversation. But keeping on track, like I said, like, everything is situational. Like, when it comes to civilian on civilian, or cop on civilian, and that's how I treat things, at least. Like, when I read stuff in the like articles online about different situations that may happen, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. So I want to know all sides of things, not just one side.
Okay. And I agree. I think all the evidence is very important. I think all the evidence is very important. And for people joining us, this is Matthew. Okay, we're having a very respectful conversation.
Yes, we have.
About the Chicago riots and a lot of the things that are going on right now. For the people who are just joining us, I do have one thing I would like to say, in case, or a question I would like to ask, because I'm really enjoying what you have to say, because I feel like you're full-heartedly trying to be fair. So let me ask you, and I'm not trying to be condescending or anything, because I agree.
Yeah.
Everything should be a case-on-case basis. Everything should be a case-on-case basis. So let me ask you, from a percentage of 1 to, or let's say from 1 to 10, let's shorten it up a little bit. From 1 to 10, 10 being 100% absolute all the time, not every single time without fail, and 1 being none at all, absolutely none at all, or 0 being none at all. From 1 to 10, how fair do you think police officers treat white people?
How fair?
Yeah, how fair, as far as how fair do you think the justice system, as far as if a police officer approaches a white person, does something to a white person, that white person, complains to the police, or punishment for the police, how fair do you think that the police system is to white people, from 1 to 10?
It's kind of a situational question, because, like I said, like, it depends. Like, do they have drugs or a gun on them? Are they being stupid and belligerent to them? Because, let's be honest, there's dumbass white people too. So that's really, I mean, if I know kind of the answer a lot of people want me to say, but I'm trying to be real here.
Be honest. That's all I'm gonna ask you to do. Be honest.
Right. Honestly, I would say, because not everyone's perfect, like I said. So honestly, I would go in between 6 and 8.
6 and 8. Okay. 6 and 8. Okay. So that's about 7, right? To be fair, let's round it to 7. How fair do you think the police system, that's as far as the police officers, the sheriffs, how they handle things, the investigation, all that, how fair do you think the police treat black people, from 1 to 10?
Well, again, it's a situational thing, but if I'm being honest, I would say between about 4 and 6. So let's say 5. Because
But
because 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 again, you have to take into consideration, like I just said, are are is are they being belligerent? Are they, you know, just make trying to make a scene, like the situation I brought up with me in my car and stuff like that and being stopped. My wife was being hysterical and I was trying to get her to stop, and that escalated things. So it's just like you have to take into consideration the certain situations of escalation as well. But we can agree that yes, black people are unfairly are mistreated. I don't agree. I don't disagree on that. You know that's something I don't disagree with. That's why I say what happened with George Floyd, it was completely wrong, and that those cops should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and everybody can agree on that. The president even agreed on that. He ordered for them to find the guy and to put the guy behind bars as quick as possible until all this other stuff happened.
he did. Maybe I don't know because from what I recall, he didn't say anything specifically about the case until the
he
riot and stuff. So maybe
he put it on
inform me.
he put it on Twitter, and I don't know exactly what he said, and his press secretary, she said something too to the press as well. I could find that video because the Blaze puts it out all the time. Glenn Beck's puts stuff out all the time. He's a big Republican guy. But yeah, they said something then. I know he put out a tweet about it. It might have gotten lost in all the confusion or deleted. Who knows by now? But I mean, this is a situation we can all agree that it's wrong. And like I said, like yes, there are instances where black people are treated unfairly. Now that that is where you have to look at the cop and say, okay, is this cop on a power trip? What is his background? That's why I said, like, cops, if you're going to be a police, you need to have a stricter background than any other job that you have ever held or will ever hold. And that's how I think, that's what I believe. So that way situations like this don't occur. And that goes with the training thing too. They need to have like the military type of training where they can de-escalate situations, because that's what they're taught in the military. I've talked to several veterans who are close to our age, and that's what they said, online, like, dude, I could have had this situation de-escalated like that, because that's how they were trained. They're trained to de-escalate the situation instead of just they're in a situation, pop off the gun. No, that's not right. You shouldn't do that.
Now, so I was paying attention. I was trying to look for his tweet about what he said. Trump tweets a lot. I don't follow him
I know.
on Twitter, so I don't know. He tweets like every 10 minutes. Like, damn, he tweets all the fucking time.
Bro.
Oh shit, I can't find this. I give up. But keep going.
Bro, dude, I stopped following him because I was getting notifications every 2 seconds. I had to tweet him and say, bro, if you don't stop, I'm gonna have to put you on timeout. Like, for real.
Okay. Yeah, he does. I can't find it. It's gone.
His phone taken away.
I just been scrolling through, and that's all been like within 1 hour. I don't know how he's the president and on Twitter all the time. He's the president of multitasking, I guess.
But him and AOC both, man.
Hey, she tweets a lot too. But let's not get off topic. Well, my question to you is, because we just used the 1 to 10 10 points as a representative of 100. So 50 would be 5 would be 50. seven would be 70. So and you just said police treat white people from 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest, about a 7. And you said black people about a 5. So why do you think and everything, if we since oh shit, why do you think that black people are treated 20% less well? Why do you think that white people are treated 20% better or more fair?
Well, with police, it's because we've been taught that when you get stopped by a cop, because they do have guns and they do have tasers, and we don't want to go to jail, that you put your hands at 10 and 2 and you say yes sir, no sir, you tell them exactly what they want to hear, and you can go on your way. Because
black people have been taught that too. Black people have been taught that you don't say anything. If you ask a black person about the talk, black people have the talk with the police. Black people do not play with the police like that. As you're saying, the media is lying. The media likes to make it seem like when a police pulls a black person over, they cussing them out. Oh, motherfucker, you pull me over. Black people do not do that shit with the police. Black people are scared to death of the police because they know the second they make a wrong move, the police is going off on them. I've personally seen more white people get belligerent with the police than what black people.
Well, see, and the thing is, I've actually had those power trip hungry cops stop me. Maybe that's why I kind of have a different perspective on things too. So, you know, and you're definitely right. You're definitely right. And it shouldn't be that way. But again, it goes back to who that person is, that individual, and what makes them, like what makes their decisions. And you know, you have to understand, like, it goes like with the like, if you're ordering food, okay, I don't know you from Adam, you don't know me from Adam, but there's some assholes out there that like to sit there and yell at you and stuff like that when they're ordering their food, like you're you're the scum of the earth, and that's not right. you know I don't know. I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. It's definitely not right. I do agree with you. I don't think that maybe it's more of like a story thing or a cultural thing. Maybe it's more of that.
Yes. See, we are agreeing. It is the culture of the police department to mistreat black people.
I'm not saying like a police culture type of thing. I'm saying more of, maybe it's more of some of them are more skittish type of thing because they've heard stories, and some of them don't want to speak up because they could get fired. Like, look at that guy that spoke up about COVID. He got fired for speaking his mind and saying what was right during that whole thing. And that's not right. And this again, like the sheriffs, we vote, like, this goes back again. It all goes back to us as individuals, and it all goes back to us when it comes to electing the officials, because us as individuals, we choose those sheriffs. We may not choose the chief of police, but maybe we should. And it comes to maybe not having stricter background checks on people, because it's I guess it's more of a culture clash between both cultures, really. Because maybe people see it that way because they see only the inner cities and the gang violence and just violence in general, and they just paint people with a broad stroke. This goes back to, this is what I've been trying to say with people online, is it goes to a mindset. is we need to change our mindsets before real change can happen, because when we change our thoughts, our reality changes.
People have been asking. Do you think that the cops are scared of black people? Do you think that the gangs and all that stuff? Do you think that makes cops scared of black people? Because I think that's kind of what you're implying, that the cops are kind of scared for their life.
I think it's a little of both. I really do.
Okay.
I think it's a little.
So, do you think that black people are scarier than white people? Because we have white people who are literally taking assault rifles and killing people with assault rifles. You really don't see black people killing people with assault rifles. Not that we could get them like that, but or bombs or I mean all the mass bombers, all the mass shooters. Why do you think that there's fear with black people, but there's not the same amount of fear with white people?
Before we get into that, I think we need to put a definition to what your definition of an assault rifle is, because every gun is a semi-automatic gun, and a semi-automatic gun is you pull the trigger and a bullet comes out. Now, if you're talking,
it is now rapid fire. Yeah, I know about guns.
Yeah.
But when I'm saying that, I mean to the people listening, if it's a big long gun, it's an assault rifle. So to the people listening, I'm just trying to be like, but let's say it's semi-automatic. You don't see black people killing anybody with semi-automatic rifles.
Well, every gun is a semi-automatic gun. But if you're specifically talking,
a semi-automatic gun is not a semi-automatic rifle, but okay, keep going. I agree.
But if you're specifically talking about an AR-15, those are not semi-automatic. Those aren't machine guns where you can just pull the trigger and think. A machine gun is a Class 3 rifle or a Class 3 gun like an M16, and you can only get that with a Class 3 license. So I do want to make that clear. I mean, you know, but coming from a military kind of background type of thing, I want to make that clear that civilians cannot get machine guns like an M16 or something like that. Now,
no, they can't get rapid fire guns. No.
Now, like AK-47s, that's I would say borderline, but.
It's on the line. It's on the line. But okay, you have white people who you can customize a semi-automatic to make it
which is
rapid fire. That's illegal, but you see white people do that.
Right. I know. But getting back to the
and you don't see black people do that.
Getting back to the question.
And I'm not trying to just, for the white listeners, I'm not trying to say all white people are bad. I'm just trying to say.
No. Yeah.
You know, there's some things that you guys do that we don't do, but the fear is on our side, and that doesn't logically make any sense.
It's true. But I would say it comes from people hearing things. It comes from being glorified in rap music. It comes from shoot, I think there's some rock songs that might glorify it too. It's all of that kind of stuff. It's just you hear things, you see things, or and it gets in your brain, and so then it's in your subconscious. And fear is a powerful emotion, and it controls you. I mean, look what's happening. I mean, that's fear and anger right there at its finest.
Like, what's up, little cuz? I'm on Instagram. This is my first time being on live. This is my cousin. He's texting me.
Oh, okay.
Keep going. I'm sorry. I just don't talk to him.
No, you're good. But like fear and anger are powerful emotions, and they play off of each other. I mean, like, everybody's seen Star Wars. Yoda explains it. Or I mean, come on. I don't want to mess up the quote, because I always mess up his quote when he talks about it from episode 3. When it's something about fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to something else. I don't remember it, but it all leads to like the dark side suffering. And if you really think about that quote, that's a very powerful quote because that's true.
Now, okay. And I love Star Wars actually. I've always loved Star Wars. But I want to go back to what you said about the music. So we can go back to what you said about the music, okay?
Right.
Because there's some truth to that. I do believe. Because I'll talk to you a little after this. There's some truth to that, but we also have instances of it seems like primarily white music where they talk of like the heavy metal screaming killing blood and the skulls and all that stuff and Kiss and the raw like almost satanic stuff. So I mean you can talk about rap and gangs and I will give you that as long as you accept that the heavy metal, rock, guitar, all that stuff should play just as much of a part. So why does rap fear make the police afraid, but the heavy metal stuff doesn't? Why is there another racial bias there? And I'm just saying this so we can get some clarification.
Yeah.
Because you're smart and you can explain it. So.
No, yeah, definitely. No, yeah, you're not wrong. And you know, there is a section of heavy metal music that says stupid shit like that. I mean, like the music I listen to when it comes to heavy metal, is more like I listen to a lot of Christian music. Like Under Oath, they're not one band that kind of like wants to have the Christian label, but you know they're a Christian screamo band. You know, I listen to Amon Amarth. They're not a Christian band, but what they talk about in their music is like Norse mythology. But no, yeah, I definitely agree. And with when it comes to music in general, like rap music, I mentioned that is because like you hear like stuff like, you know, songs like NWA, even though they were expressing themselves, and I agree that they have the right, and I love the song, you know, like fuck the police, you know, like stuff like that, and it puts stuff in your mind that it's okay to go do that stuff. Like Eminem even talked about this kind of stuff where you can go back to Columbine and people were saying his music made them go do that, or you know Marilyn Manson's music made them go do that, you know. And that's another interesting thing that I've been researching for a while. But the thing with music is it influences all of us. Like we don't think it does, but look at the stuff you buy, look at the stuff that we say, you know, it influences all of us. And I'm not saying that all cops are fearful because of that, because there's a lot of cops who like rap music, white, black, or whatever. You know, but I'm saying that it plays a part, especially if you're making them out to be animals, and then they'll attack like animals, like how you feel they make you out to be. And I think because this is what I always try is I try to treat people the way the way I want them to treat me, you know. And that I think is what another thing that is a solution to the problem. Now, again, we can say that yes, there are cops who are assholes and just go out and want to cause problems, but that isn't indicative of all of them. You know, that
okay, I agree.
You know, so
I would never say all of any group
right
behave the same way.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
But I feel as
Excuse me. Hold on. Keep going.
I feel as if that if we start treating each other with more respect on both ends, on both ends. And there's a lot of cops who need to come to this Jesus moment, as we can call this that, because we need to be humble, and this isn't a time for us to be hating each other like a lot of people are doing online.
I absolutely agree. But somebody just texted me, because I think this would be great for your channel. Somebody had just texted me a question they wanted to ask you if you're okay with that.
What's up?
The question is, if you're okay with them, the audience asking questions. The question was, you mentioned NWA's "Fuck the Police," right?
Right.
What do you think made NWA make that song? Why do you think? And that song was a hit. Why do you think?
Well,
that the people like that song so much, and why do you think they made that song? What do you think caused them? Because as you said, for every action there's a reaction, and I think the song was a reaction to the police's actions, right? Well, I mean, that's what the question they want to know. That's my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was because of the situation that they were growing up in, because of how they were treated in their situation, in their neighborhood. I don't know how true it is in the movie about that, if that's exactly what happened, but that's.
I mean, it's a movie. You can't expect everything to be super accurate in the movie,
right? But for the most part, it's definitely because they grew up with that mistreatment, and let's be honest, the LAPD is very, very racist against people and very corrupt. So they definitely are a police station and a police that I would say needs to be looked at and investigated and probably prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and needs to have the justice people want. But that is what I was saying. It's like yeah, they're and man, the internet is.
Do you believe somebody just asked on Instagram? Can you say it's only the LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department?
Oh no! I would say big cities across the country, especially like LA, Chicago. Because I'm sure shit. Let's be honest. There's a lot of stuff they're hiding in here in Chicago. New York City, NYPD, definitely NYPD.
Of course. See, we agree on all that stuff. Yeah, we agree. This all over the country.
Right.
And every police department.
But I think conversations like this, most of all, need to happen. That is 100% what needs to happen. Because and this is why I say riots don't happen or don't happen. I don't agree with them.
You can slow down. I'm not gonna do you. I'm gonna ease up. I know I've been asking you a lot of questions. That's because people are asking me to ask you.
No.
So I'm gonna ease up.
No. You're good. But this is why I say that I don't agree with rioting and looting and stuff like that, because that's a negative action. And you see how people are reacting to that with more negativity. Now, understand, yes, we are hearing you. So your overall goal is getting crossed, but it's getting muffled because of the negativity, because of what's being shown, and people are tired of, and I think liberals and conservatives across the board can agree with this point, that we're just tired of the bullshit. Period. No matter what it is, we're tired of the bullshit, and that's one reason Trump was elected in the first place in 2016. And that's another reason why I think he's going to win again. But I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but I mean, look at it. People are tired of the bullshit. People are not just black people, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Really, everybody.
Of course.
And I know it looks like people don't care, but we really do. You know? That's
So as
that's
far
the-
as the riots, I do believe that the riots are a good thing. For y'all who listening, hey, if y'all riot, just be safe. That because y'all got my full support. If y'all take something, I'm your alibi. Just make the story make sense. Okay? Don't say we've been to a place that's closed down because of COVID-19. Just make it we were playing cards at my house or something like that. Just make something make sense. All right? And I'm gonna be your alibi.
I'm gonna say this. If you're gonna riot, wear a mask and do it 6 feet apart.
Yeah, what's this? Hey, yeah, be safe, man. Put some gloves on. You don't want to be touching all over stuff.
I've been in the house long enough. I'm going crazy, dude. I need to get out.
Yeah. My thing with the riots, with the LA riots, since you brought LA up, do you remember Rodney King? Do you remember the video of Rodney King?
Now, see, I was 2 years old when that happened. So
I was born.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing with that though. Everybody waited till after the trial to riot and loot. You know what I'm saying? This in this day and age, we have social media, so it's instant. It's court of public opinion. We're gonna execute this man on the spot. You know, and that's the difference. Is we have social media now compared to back then, where they only had the one source of media with the news and the newspapers and, you know, things like that. So they had to wait for information to come out, really. But yeah, I was too. So all I know about that is from what I see and what I hear. And I honestly, I don't even remember. Like I said, I was two, so I don't even remember any of that. Except for the bits and pieces that have come out now about things. So, like, I know he was. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Like I said, like there was a Netflix documentary.
Would you like me to inform you just on what happened?
Yeah. Because again,
there was a chase, a car chase with Rodney King and the police officers. They had stopped him. He was dragged out of his car, and that's when you saw the film of the cops as he was down, laying on the ground. As you saw the cops take the baton, and they was beating him with the baton, and they beat him bad. He had to go to the hospital and everything like that. They beat him senselessly. They had went to court, and days later they went to court. All the cops got off, all of them, and it was like five cops, I think, who did that. I think it was like 5 or 6 cops, maybe more, who did that. At least 5, I know that much. And they all got off. Afterwards, LA rioted. Way worse than they are now. Because when LA was rioting back then, people were literally being killed.
Right.
And since then, the police don't mess with them to the extent that they did before. Since all these police shootings and stuff like that, you don't see that coming out of LA. You'll see that out of Chicago, New York, Texas, Louisiana, all that stuff. But you don't see that. You don't see films. Not to say it doesn't happen, but you don't see cops blatantly doing that on camera because they know better than that now.
Oh yeah.
So to an extent, the riots do work. Now, as far as the riots go, me and you were just joking about that. Of course, we don't condone taking anything that does not belong to you.
Right.
Do not do that. I do not approve of that at all.
I also
okay, please don't do that at all. Don't do that. I mean, if you do, then don't. I mean,
I do not
keep going.
Beating people senseless or shooting people trying to defend their friend's business or trying to take a safe of a man whose life savings was put into a sports bar. I don't condone those actions.
It's okay.
You know,
They'll be okay. They will be okay. I mean, a dead person will come back though. Anything that is broken, burned, can be rebuilt. Any item that is stolen can be replaced. But a life can never come back,
right?
which is the priority here. The priority is preventing lives from being killed, from being taken away.
Luckily,
which is the ultimate goal, which is worth everything. It's worth the small bit, and I support small businesses. But if it's for the cause, hopefully a lot of them got insurance anyway. Not to say I do not approve of I'm like that President Bill Clinton. I did not cheat on that woman, or I did not have sexual relations with that female, or whatever he said. I do not approve of any rioting at all. Do not do anything illegal. Wear your mask and stay at home. God bless America. Keep going, Matt. They love you.
With small businesses though, it's a lot harder for them to get insurance. And see, with this, I'm not sure if I'm at liberty to say it yet, but whatever. The place I work at next door is a smoke shop, and even though this was a planned thing, it wasn't really a part of the riots or anything like that. Two guys broke in and stole everything. Not everything, but stole certain items. Now, I believe they waited till this moment because of everything that was happening. And there's a lot of opportunists out there that are doing that. And that's wrong too. Mm-hmm. And luckily the guy in Texas and Dallas that was beat to an inch of his life will be okay. From what I've heard. But what's his name? David Dorn, who was a retired police officer, went to go protect a pawn shop from people literally stealing TVs because they were rioting. That's wrong. The guy from Minneapolis who opened the sports bar, they came back with him in the building, with the news crew in the building to take his safe. He put his life savings into that. So there are small businesses that probably won't recover because it's really hard for small businesses because you got to put in a claim, and that claim has to, they have to come out and check everything out and do all this other stuff and jump through a lot of hoops that big corporations don't have to do because they have CEOs that have money that can replace things. That's just how economics.
I'm aware. I know, and that's sad. That is very sad. I just do feel like I feel as if Black people have been going through this, and we have been following from Dr. King, and I want to get your opinion on that because I know you bring him up, so he must be a very important person to you. But since Dr. King, Black people have been marching peacefully. We had the hands up, don't shoot. We had the I can't breathe. We did the whole kneeling. And every single last one of those times that Black people did that, we were told, nope, can't do it that way. 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 You can protest peacefully, but just not like that. Not like that. Not like that. So it turns to a point where, okay, well, all this peaceful protesting, since there's no way to do it, then I'm just burn something up, which I wouldn't have done. Of course, I would not have done that, and I don't know anybody who has, but that's what it takes. And another thing too, as you're saying, the media kind of twists things. We're seeing actual footage of white people running in and out, and non-Black people running in and out and looting, but the media is kind of twisting it as if it's just a Black person thing. So,
right,
what do you
exactly.
think about it?
And I don't agree with that either. Like they're being opportunistic, and that's the problem. Again, the media only wants you to see a certain thing. That's why they only show a certain thing. They all have an agenda. You brought up Dr. King. Do you know? You probably already know, but the Montgomery boycott, 381 days. That's commitment. They didn't drive a car. Well, they didn't take a bus. They walked to work, and if they drove a car, it was from friends or neighbors. 381 days. That's commitment. I posted a video where a guy I really respect and I really find motivation from, Eric Thomas, who's a black pastor and a motivational speaker. If anybody wants to look him up, he's phenomenal. Who talked about it? You know, he said it's not going to happen overnight. It's 381 days. You have to be committed. You have to be able to go to prayer. You know, he's 381 days. That's how they did that. And that worked.
But let me ask you a question, a very important question a lot of people want to know. How many black people have to die within those 381 days in order for things to change? Why does it take 381 days?
Well, that's just what.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah, but we clearly can't wait that long.
And see,
we can't wait that long.
That's one thing Eric Thomas, in the video of him I posted, said he said that he's questioning people's commitment to that 381 days. People were committed to doing it. There wasn't no, oh, we're not going to wait this long. Oh, it's not coming. They waited. They educated themselves. They did all the things they needed to do, and then something happened. They were allowed to sit in the front of the bus. You see what I'm saying? You know, they marched to, where was it? Birmingham, Alabama, and went over the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I'm not quite sure of the area. I know it was in Alabama though. You know, the first time, yeah, it didn't work. But the second time, they got everybody. And in fact, was it? I want to say Father John Jenkins from Notre Dame marched with Dr. King. And so that's one reason why, and I do view Dr. King as a very inspirational person. But another reason why I do is because Father John Jenkins from Notre Dame did. And I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. So, but that's the thing, is like, people aren't. Yeah, you say that you're committed to the cause, but then watch, a month from now, you're not going to be talking about this. You're not going to be doing, it's one of those things. It's just a fad. It's just a trend, because everybody wants to get out on their Facebook and say, oh, hey, I'm helping. Like, like if any big thing happens.
Facebook warriors. I really can't. Can I ask a question? You said the process, and I love and respect dearly Dr. King, okay? And a lot of people have things to say about him. I don't think he was correct in everything he did. I don't. However, I have respect for that man. But let me ask you one thing. If your wife, now you said you were married, and I'm not going to try to get any information, or let's say you had a child. I don't think you do, or your parents, or your brother or sister. I don't even know if you have siblings. But let's say if your mom was shot several times in her home, would you be willing to wait 381 days before justice is served? Would you in your conscience, knowing she was brutally murdered, and I ain't trying to get you in trouble with your family, because you might not like your mama, somebody you might like. Well, but would you wait that long for a death? Because with the Montgomery the bus boycott, right? With that was sitting in the front of the bus, okay? That was sitting in the front of the bus. That was not people dying in the street. Okay, you tell people, oh, this is what they did to sit in the front of the bus, and equate that to people dying in the street. This is what you have to do for that. The severity is very different. If somebody told you, oh, the solution, somebody hits your car and they dent your door, and you have to go through this long, drawn out process to get the insurance to pay for it and everything like that. But you're willing to wait because it's just a little dent in the door. If somebody is driving recklessly and rams their car through your house, and now you have a car stuck in your house, you're not gonna wait as long as you would if there was just a dent in the door.
Well, with that, I kind of have a little bit of an advantage because I know a lawyer, so I could call up him and he could give me a reference to another lawyer, but a good lawyer. But if I had to wait, if that lawyer that he gave me, because he doesn't practice, if that lawyer that he gave me said, okay, well, we have to go through this process, it might take a long time, and you might not see the court or whatever for who knows how 381 days. We'll just take that because that's what we're saying. Yeah, I probably would, because yes, I would be upset. Don't get me wrong, I would be upset and I would be mad and it would hurt, but I'm willing to wait that long. I'm willing to go through the process of what I have to do.
Hold on, okay, because the audience is a little, they're saying what? They're leaving question marks. So you'd be willing to wait 381 days with a car in your living room?
That too, yeah. Especially, well, yeah, that too, because if that's how I'm going to go through the process of getting my house replaced, because I'm going to have to rebuild my house too, and that's going to take a time period, so I'm going to have to wait for the insurance money. I'm going to have to wait for the court system. There's a process to it. And that's how it is with life too, is there's a process in life as well. But no, yes, I'm willing to wait that long. I'm committed to.
Those just joining us, this is Matthew here. They're asking who you are. This is Matthew from Prairie State, although you might not know. They're asking who you are. Some people text me asking who you are.
I'm Matt Reininger. I own a fitness vlog on YouTube and Instagram called Savage Sane Fitness. I also have a podcast called Becoming Savage. Follow me there. But yes, me and James are friends from Prairie State, and we are talking about how we can change what's going on right now, and having a very respectful and very productive, I feel, conversation. I feel I've learned a lot today. You want to know something? I hope you agree with me on this. And I know this is kind of off track, but it's kind of annoying to me. People who, and it's called white guilt. Like, people who are sitting there like apologizing, and it's just like, I don't understand. I don't get why you're apologizing. Like, it makes you seem like I don't know. Like you're trying to virtue signal. Honestly, to me, that makes you seem more racist than not doing that. Honestly, I know the look on your face, but.
No way. Hold on, let me tell you. I need to get what? Oh my God, it's hot. I need to open the window. Okay.
But no, like, it annoys me though. It annoys me because it's like,
okay.
It's like, dude, you don't own a slave. Your family, like, you can't, like, what are you apologizing for? Like, I get it. You feel bad because of what happened, but don't like help out. Don't apologize. Do actually take an action. Apologize.
And I agree. And to all the white people.
Fix anything.
To all the white people, okay? I want you to know, you guys did not. You guys didn't have slaves, okay? That was your ancestors and everything like that. I'm not even mad at you guys for that at all. Y'all don't need to apologize. The only thing that white people need to do, the only thing that they need to do, because they shouldn't even. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. All white people need to do is come up off them resources that they got, that their ancestors passed down to them from the slaves. Or y'all come up off those resources and give it to the people who deserve them, and we cool. We will be totally fine. We don't want no revenge or nothing. Just ease up off that. Cut me the check. You know, spread some of the money. Come on, the resources and everything like that, and we cool. Cause I don't want y'all to go through that. I'm not like a revenge-seeking person. It's just, come hey, y'all got all this stuff, the G1 bill, all that, all that stuff that y'all got, the free labor and everything like that y'all have an economy built on. Y'all just I don't even say giving away. Just share it. Just come on, just share it, because there's no reason we shouldn't have any. Well, right? If they feel bad, if they feel that what was done was wrong, they should share it. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
don't you agree? Don't you agree? I'm sure I know you agree, right?
I mean, you're from what I'm gathering, you're saying that capitalism is bad.
Oh no! Well, okay. Here's the thing. America started with the 18, because I mentioned this to you before, the 1862, the Homestead Act, where they gave a whole bunch of white immigrants free land, and those white immigrants, this was before the Industrial Revolution, so that free land, they grew crops, they had businesses and everything like that. They had their economic base. That's something Dr. King was talking about too. So they had their economic base, right? So with that economic base, they gave through socialism, because it was the government giving people stuff, just like how they say they don't want now. It was the government giving the white people stuff now, and then they say, okay, now that the white people have it, now we're going to go on to capitalism. So it's like, is this? I agree with capitalism. I fully do, just not the white man's capitalism. Because it's like they nitpick socialism and capitalism, whatever it takes to keep a white hierarchy. I mean, because we have to look at the history with the 1864, the Homestead Act, where they got free land, coming here with free land.
The reason, but here's the reason why the United States turned to capitalism, because when Jamestown was founded, they tried socialism and it didn't work. And so, because everybody started to be lazy and they didn't want to work. So John Smith said, if you do not work, you do not eat. And from that point on, everybody started working for their food. And why America became a capitalist. Now, the Jamestown settlement didn't work out because, we had the war. They were attacked by the natives. But I would say now in 2020, see, this goes into my view as a libertarian. I would say now, though, in 2020, is that people in general rely too much on the government, and we shouldn't. I mean, that's why we have a welfare state, and we should definitely take. I think everybody should have a job and be taking care of themselves as an individual, and by doing that, you take care of your family too. I'm not saying that to be selfish or anything like that, but I think that we as an individual don't need the government. The government should only be there to be like a referee, to enforce the rule when need be.
Okay.
Okay. So I
do believe we can govern ourselves. I do believe that as well.
So say like in a football game, if the referee doesn't pull the flag, then it's not a foul. If they don't throw the flag, it's not a foul. And sometimes they should keep their flag in their pocket and let the game progress.
Mm-hmm. Now, you brought up Dr. King. So I have to ask, I have to ask. I would feel dishonoring him if I did not ask. Because you knew about the Montgomery boy. I keep, that's a tongue twister for me.
Montgomery boycott.
Thank you very much. That you know about that. You know about how long that took, right?
Yeah.
You know about all of that. So you know your history about Dr. King, and I respect that. What do you think of his statement that black people, specifically the descendants of American slavery, are entitled to reparations? From slavery to Jim Crow to semi-slavery and everything in between, the redlining, the brutality, the war on drugs, all of these economic crises and stuff like that that happen specifically to black people, the Highway Act, all, and I'm not going to bring every single last one up, but wouldn't you, since you agree with what Dr. King, his powerful message, what do you think about that?
About reparations?
About reparations. Paying America, this isn't a handout, but America paying a debt that it is owed.
Well, again, it all depends. I would agree. Like if you are owed something, then yes, you should definitely do it. But it should be done the right way. Like it shouldn't be. Obviously, it's going to be taking out of taxes and raising everyone's taxes, which no one's going to like.
But they do other people. America has always given reparations. This isn't the first time America has given reparations. America has done it for the Vietnamese, the Chinese, the Native Americans, the Jews. So like, why is it like when the black people like can't do that? Why is it like that? Do you think?
Because you have people that view it as you said, as a handout. Like you have people who view it as a handout because they think that I don't know, maybe you know, they think.
I just, for the people just joining us, this is Matthew from Prairie State. You're gonna give a shout out before we wrap this up. It's getting kind of late. We should.
Yeah, no, yeah.
About good 15 more minutes in, and then we can, give our social media platforms out to everybody who might be listening, and so.
My thing is, if you are owed something, then yes, you should definitely get it. The opinions, though, of the country is that they view it as a handout, another handout, because of the welfare state. You know what I'm saying? And people view people, and there's white people on welfare too. I think you should be that whole system needs to be reformed. Honestly, that's another issue that we need to fix too. But if you're owed something, you should definitely get it. It should be done the right way, though. It shouldn't just be something that is forced. It should be something that, okay, let's look at it. Let's see how we can do it and not affect the taxes of other people, because that's what's going to happen too. Because let's be honest, even the people who are going to get paid those reparations are going to get taxed, because it's like money from the lottery. You know what I mean? It gets taxed. You're not going to see the whole thing. Like that $1,200 everybody, like that $1,200 got from sitting in our houses. That was only 10.
Oh, what is this?
That was only 10 more.
In my thing. I'm not sure how that happened. Keep going.
It's like the $1,200 everybody got. That was just 10% more of your taxes. That's all that was.
Okay.
That's just 10% more of money that you made. This is why I say taxation is theft, because they're literally taking your money. The government is literally taking your money and only giving you 10% back. You know what I mean? You made 20,000 and they're giving you 1,500. That's not right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the government is really messed up, man. Um,
So yes.
now, do you believe? Because I'm a little. You confuse me a little bit because I understand you're talking about the government, and I agree the government is corrupt. Do you believe that black people are owed because I think if we have reparations and we have money, I think the police are able to do this because a lot of black people are poor. And if we had money to have lawyers and have stuff like that and influence, it wouldn't be happening. So, do you believe, since we were on the topic of Dr. King, which led us to reparations, do you believe that descendants of American slaves are owed reparations? Whether the rest of the country believes it or not, do you believe it?
Well, you would have to see the complication of this now is you would have to do lineages and DNA tests because
That can be done.
There's
We have ancestry.com.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of black people that have just come over from Africa, like so you don't know for sure right now. So you'd have to be able to trace them, so that way the people, like you said, who are descendants of slaves, or that way we know who to give it to. That's what I'm saying. We can't.
I agree. Yeah, you can't give it to everybody. So you do agree. You do agree that should happen, though.
Well, yeah. If you're owed something, yes. But the process of it.
But you keep saying if, as if that's not a definite. That's because you're saying if you're owed something. So
when you're owed something.
Because I agree. Let's separate the native black people from the immigrant black people for just 1 second.
Right.
Do the native black people, are they owed something? Because you're saying like if, like maybe it's a yes or a no.
Yeah, I would say that if you can 100% sure say that you can trace your lineage back that far and say that, then yeah, that I think that would be a step forward, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but we need, but the process with that is that's where it comes into play. So you'd have to DNA test people.
As fellow Americans, because me and you are fellow Americans, we both agree that it's a debt that needs to be paid. So whatever it takes, let's figure it out and let's pay it. Whatever it takes.
But the question is, and the question is, are you willing to wait for the process, though?
Well, we've been waiting for a long time. As long as we're on the roll, I think we can. I think we can wait. As long as if they don't do no shifty like 12-year stuff, we can. I don't think it's gonna take that long. I think if we put our heads together, we can. I think if we're smart people, if we put our heads together, we can do it. I think you're a smart person. I think if we put our heads together, we can get these reparations popping.
Well, here, I wanna ask you something now, because you brought up you said something about people of influence. Would you not say somebody like LeBron James or like Cardi B is somebody of influence?
Yeah, they're celebrities. They have influence among their fans, or they have a platform. I would say, yeah, to maybe the younger crowd, they have influence, but they do have a platform to reach their audience.
Okay, because you said something about not having influence, and my thing was I was thinking, I was like, there, like I said earlier, was that you see at least maybe 90% of the NBA is black. I don't know, maybe 80% of the NFL. There's a lot of black baseball players. I think recently there's a few black hockey players. It's not a big percentage, but I know there's a few black hockey players out there. I would say that those people have influence. You know, if you
Yeah, those individuals do. Yes,
you know,
they do.
like,
Well, I'm looking.
she's a
What
politician.
you said? What? Like who? Like who?
Like,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
She's a politician, but she has, you know, Barack Obama. He's a former politician. He has influence. You know.
Mhm. When I say have influence, I mean the same way. Let's say, let's use the Japanese. Out of respect for them, let's use them. They have a very strong economy. They have an incredibly strong economy, right? And with that economy, with the power of that economy, they have influence to where if they want something done, it can be done because they have the money to back politicians. They have the money to support certain campaigns and certain movements, right? That's what I mean when I say influence, not just platforms. I don't necessarily mean platforms. And we do have politicians. I mean the ability to put money, the community having money to be able to support its own community, to where we can change what a politician said. We can buy politicians. Not to say politicians should be bought, but we can fund their campaign. We can fund their movements. We can fund their social influence. Thank you. See that, like social influence.
Right.
We can fund because with social influence, you see the Asians are able to do certain things based off of the strength of their economy, and they're a very small percentage of American population. So that's kind of what we need. We do have celebrities, and shout out to all of them. If they worked hard and they earned it, we have politicians. You worked hard, you earned it. But as far as the rest of the community goes, I don't want to look at this from an individual perspective. As far as the community goes, when it comes to like schools and when it comes to the jobs and stuff like that, we with reparations, Black people can make their own jobs. We can have our own Black Wall Street, just like Asians have Chinatown and Russians have Russiatown. We can have our own thing, and then everybody can live in prosperity. Like, just think about that for a second. Everybody, just because Asians have Chinatown, and nobody says, it's all over the country. Russians have Russiatown. Jewish people have their own neighborhoods. You have certain religious groups that have their own neighborhoods. I'm not saying Black people don't have their own neighborhoods, but the economy is not there. So let's build that economy.
Okay, so you mentioned the economy. Look at this from a business perspective, though. If you're a business owner, what kind of neighborhood would you want to be in? Would you want to be in a neighborhood that has less crime, or a neighborhood that might not be the nicest and maybe have a little bit more crime than that nice neighborhood?
I would want. Would I want to live there, or would I want to put my business there?
Would you want to put your business there?
Well, yeah, I would want to put my business in the smartest location possible. If that's the safest neighborhood, I don't want my business being, robbed. I don't want my employees being, unsafe. I want them to have a safe working environment, of course.
Well, and see, that's the thing. When it comes to businesses, they look at the nicest areas to go to, because they don't want to put their business or put their employees, no matter who they are, in a situation where they're going to be in danger, at least most of the time. Because let's be honest, things happen. So you have to look at it that way.
We do actually see that. I'm sorry. My Instagram is kind of lighting up right now. They have a lot of.
No, that's cool. That's awesome. Um, so that's the thing with business. As for being able to influence politicians, you can go online and pick whatever candidate that you want to donate to. That's the beauty of having so many people running at one time. If you want to support Bernie Sanders, then by God, you can support Bernie Sanders. I don't know why you would want to, but you can do it. Um, you can go online and put in their, your card information and donate to that. You can donate $1. They don't care how much you donate. Um, I'm trying to
Okay.
go through everything in my mind. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, when it comes to business, they like you said, they want to pick the smartest and safest location that they can go to.
Mhm.
And so
What makes
my thing
what do
is
you
my
think
thing
makes
is
a neighborhood unsafe? What do you think makes a neighborhood unsafe?
how
Because I've done by my research the social economic um the social economic situation of a neighborhood determines its crime rate almost every time. Almost every time. So in order to lower the crime rate, you have to fix the social economic situation, social economic um, thing.
it has to it has to do with taxes. That's always a thing.
Mhm.
2, as you said, the crime rate. 3, I would say as businesses move out and things start becoming looking like they're falling apart, you have to care about your community. You have to be able to take care of your community, and again, it all goes back to the politicians. You have to be able to, as politicians, they need to be able to bring in those businesses to support that community, and give those businesses incentive. I've been saying this on the Glenwood page for a while now. You need to be able to give the businesses, entice your neighborhood, make it enticing, make them want to come. They're not just going to want to put their business up because you say so. You gotta pitch it to them. You gotta say, hey, our neighborhood is the best neighborhood. It's growing. We got so many people. This, and this. You know, so those all play a factor in it.
And it's yes, it all does, and you're on the money because it all plays a factor. It plays a factor in the police brutality. It plays a factor in the crime rate and everything. It all plays a factor because there's several studies, and I'm sure you know about that, about black people who are discriminated when it comes to business loans, when it comes to job opportunities, when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
housing loans, or when they get it, they would be charged higher interest rate than some a white person with the same credit score and everything. So in order to compensate for all of the hard for all of that stuff, if you give black people the reparations, like you did with the Japanese and the Jews and the Native Americans and stuff like that, if you just did that with them, then they can build themselves up just like the rest of those groups of people.
I mean, Native Americans, we gave a plot of land and alcohol. I would say that is reparation.
I mean, Native Americans don't pay taxes and they have casinos, so.
See, they're smart. they know we all like to gamble.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yeah. Okay.
the thing is, like, I feel like you could word that better. Like, oh, if you just give us this, we'll just magic. Like, it's like a magic fix, and it's not a magic fix. It goes back to what I like. What said is like it's a mindset thing, like because just with white people there's problems, but in the black community there's problems. And we need to fix the mindset of everybody. It's not just going to take it's gonna take a long time because this is a new radical thing, but changing your mindset is something that I work on every day, because every day I have negative thoughts.
Okay.
It's an everyday thing. But,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like reparation. Like I agree. Yes, you should be compensated for the crimes committed against you from the past, like all these other people have been. Okay, but I don't agree that it's a magical pill that's going to fix everything.
Oh, it's gonna take some work. It's gonna take some work, but you need the foundation for anything that you do, right?
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna kind of have to wrap this up a little bit, so I'm gonna ask you.
No problem.
I'm gonna ask you.
Because
I just want to get to the middle ground, just the middle ground,
right.
and then I'm gonna let you have the floor, and then we can exchange social media platforms. If you have your YouTube channel and your podcast, so people can follow you. For the people joining us now, this is Matthew Ringer. Matthew Ringer.
Right.
Okay. So so we agree. We do agree that the police are more unfair to black citizens than they are to white citizens. We agree with that. And we agree that the riots are due to protests and certain things not working. And we agree about Dr. King saying that descendants of American slavery are owed reparations.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. See, we come. This is coming together. This is coming together. I think this was very beneficial.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna let you have the floor. I'm gonna let you have the last word.
Because I love that. But no.
You're finishing it off. You waving everybody good night.
Okay, so my name is Matthew Reininger. I run a YouTube.
Say that again. I didn't hear you. Matthew what? I'm sorry, Matthew what?
Matthew Reininger. Yeah, sorry, my wife was yelling at me. So Matthew Reininger, like the Rhine River. Reininger, like the Rhine River in Germany. I run a YouTube fitness vlog. It's called Savage Saiyan, like Savage Saiyan, like the Saiyan off of Dragon Ball Z, Goku.
Can you spell that, please? Can you spell that?
Saiyan spelled Saiyan. You can find me on YouTube on there. You can find me on Instagram with that name. I also have a podcast, which this episode will be going up, called Becoming Savage. You can find it anywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Anchor app. If you have the Anchor app and listen to it on there, wherever podcasts are, I put it out through Anchor app and they distribute it everywhere. I want to thank James, one, for having this conversation with me. I really think that it's something that needs to be done right now, and I think it needs to be done more. Maybe we could have another conversation another time. I think that this went well. I think it was very productive, and I learned a lot today. And that's
I think the audience loved this. My phone was blowing. I had to mute it. My phone was blowing up the whole time. The audience loved this.
You know.
They did.
This is how conversations are supposed to go, and debates are supposed to go. That you're supposed to learn something from somebody that you're talking to or debating with. It's not supposed to be arguing. It's not supposed to be arguing and everything else. Shut up. And you're supposed to learn from people from different opinions. And me and James have different opinions, as you guys can see, but we found a middle ground, learned something. And I hope this opens some eyes, So James,
I'm sure it did. I'm sure a lot of people are seeing a lot of things differently. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot to. I can almost promise my phone is going to be blowing up as soon as I get out of this live. I can almost guarantee you that. So, thank you for coming. Thank you for trying to clarify your stance. Dakota, he's that's this avatar on the bottom. Dakota helped us with the live stream, so thank you, Dakota, for that as well.
Thank you, man. Dakota.
So yeah, any.
Hello.
So maybe you said what?
I said hello. I've been here the entire time. How you doing?
So
How
yeah,
you doing, brother? How you doing? So maybe we can have this another time because we discussed a lot. This was about police brutality, which we both have reached an agreement that it is a race thing. So now we have to fix that. So hey, it takes baby steps. Baby steps. So
Amen.
thank you, and good night. All right, you guys follow him. Do you have Instagram or Twitter?
I have everything.
Okay, well, give your Instagram and Twitter. Give your Instagram and Twitter. They want to follow
Instagram
you.
again is Savage Sane Fitness. Go follow me there. I'm probably going to be posting again here soon. I haven't posted in a while because I take 1 or 2 pictures every so often. But so follow me there. I think my YouTube link for my channel on YouTube is on there too. If you didn't hear me or spelling of it, Saiyan spelled Saiyan, like Dragon Ball Z. So yeah,
Yes,
man,
this
thank
is
you guys.
Discord.
I love you guys. I miss you guys, man. I miss you and Dakota, man.
Yeah, this COVID thing is crazy.
maybe one of these days we can do one where it's like we're sitting by each other or something. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Well,
So,
thank you.
With that,
Thank you.
I'm gonna say later. I love you guys. Let me know if you want to do this.
Now hold on. So the audience doesn't get any. Do you feel that this was a respectful conversation?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like this was respectful the whole way through? Okay, that's all I want.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
That's what we need to have. Instead of attacking.
Okay, there's no profanity. Yeah, this was very respectful, and I believe it was very educational and entertaining. I believe it was.
Exactly.
You guys know a little bit more of what I think now. You know about what Matthew thinks. Follow him on his platforms, his social media, his Instagram, Savage Saiyan Fitness. YouTube is Savage Saiyan. You know, he has a lot of fitness and motivational speaking tips and stuff like that. So you guys go do that if you want to. I'm not telling you to do anything, y'all. But do it if you want. So good night.
I'll see you later. Love you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.